Colorado Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're here to present you our NBA morning shoot around for Tuesday, April 9th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our NBA, MLB, NFL videos. And if you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel and Draftkings cash lineups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for our DFS needs. So make sure to come check out the site here on dfscheatsheet.com. So, hey, how you doing out there, Jeremy?
Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, man, NBA's winding down. Everybody stopped doing NBA content, but we're rolling with our members through the end of the regular season. Yeah, man, we got 11 games to talk about. One thing I quickly just want to kind of, I'll give you a heads up on. We're not going to spend so much time, as we usually spend, just because there's so many people that's ruled out. There's a lot of teams that are just literally just ready to get the season over with. So hey, we're just gonna kind of breeze through it and touch on some guys that we feel are really good to target on this slate and just kind of go from there. So I mean, I'm ready to talk some basketball if you are, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, if you guys don't mind, please take that quick second, click the like button down below. Helps me out. Really, really appreciate that. And yeah, man, hey, if you guys haven't heard already, man, one of our members with our optimizer last Friday in MLB won 25K. I remember Paul. Hey, congrats to him again. And yeah, man, hey, that's life-changing money. Hey, using our optimizer, that makes us feel extra good. So hey, check out the site, DFS Cheat Sheet. So hey, man, let's jump into it. First game we're gonna go with is gonna be the Charlotte Hornets going into Cleveland to face the Cavaliers. This game has a 219 over/under, and Charlotte favored by 8 in this one.
Man, I don't even know where to start, to be honest with you. So, I mean, the one guy that I'm going to say that is playable here is Kemba Walker at 9.7. I mean, it's Kemba Walker. They've got one game left here. And, I mean, you got to play – I think you got to play Kemba in this spot against Cleveland. Look for him to just go ball out the last game of the season, try and put something together, have a monster performance, end the year the right way. I do think Nicholas Batum at 4,000 is really interesting. And then Jeremy Lamb, the guy's just a scorer at 6.3, and I think that you can look at him and Kaminsky as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on the Cleveland side of things, they're a team that pretty much they've been out the playoffs all year anyway, so they're still playing, their guys a bunch of minutes. I mean, I'm not really interested in Zizic, but I think that you can look at a Sexton. Brandon Knight's still too cheap in the start lineup. Cedi Osman still playing 34, 35 minutes a game. And then you got to look at Larry Nance. Tristan Thompson is out. Kevin Love's out. A bunch of bigs out. He's been playing very well. Marquise Chris off the bench, 3,500. He's a guy that's been getting some run. And then you always got to look at Jordan Clarkson. He's a guy who plays 30 minutes off the bench. Has pretty much been his role all season. I expect the same role the last game of the season, basically, for them. So, yeah, man, I like a couple guys on the Cleveland side, but that's really where I'm going to stick with the guys that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Moving on, next game we're going to go with, it's going to be the Memphis Grizzlies going into Detroit to face the Pistons. This game, we don't have an over-under yet, but Detroit is favored by 9.5 in this one.
I just looked. I wanted to just make sure that I looked. Detroit, right, is hanging on for dear life in the 8, and they are the ones that have they've got 2 games left, and Charlotte's got 2 games left, and Charlotte is 1 game behind them. So these are 2 meaningful games. So Kemba Walker is the guy you load up there. Memphis in a spot here to play spoiler. Ivan Rapp's price back to reality a little bit, sub 6,000. Bruno Caboclo price back to reality, he was up in the 6,000. So, I think all 5 of these starters are definitely in play. You look at Joakim Noah's out, Avery Bradley out, Mike Conley out. Short rotation, all 5 starters are definitely in play here. It seems like when they've got this rotation and they've had this rotation in other spots in the season, you see your boy Justin Holiday doesn't just go stand over in the corner and try to knock down shots. He actually gets involved in the flow of the offense and plays a little bit better. So I think you could look at
like 2 different players, bro.
It's like 2 different players. So I definitely think you could look at all 5 of them. And you have to mention Chandler Parsons. This is a good spot to load up Chandler Parsons at 4.4 as well.
Yeah, I mean, on the Detroit side of things, I mean, you said it, must-win game. You look at the obvious guys, Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin's a game-time decision. I expect him to play in a must-win game, with their season on the line. Reggie Jackson's always a decent GPP play. He has some upside, but he definitely has, those games where he plays very, very bad. Wayne Ellington's a guy who's been playing a bunch of minutes and he's playing decent. I think you could look at him as a GPP play. But outside of that, that's really where I'm at. It's basically just the starters for the Pistons. Bruce Brown, you can look at him as a deep GPP play, I guess, at a bare minimum price tag of 3,500 job spot. But yeah, man, that's really where I'm at. They're gonna play their guys a lot of minutes. They need to win this game.
Moving on.
Moving on, next game we're going to go with is going to be the Boston Celtics going into Washington to face the Wizards. This game, we don't have an over-under yet, but Washington is favored by 6 in this one.
You want anything to do with Washington? Just curious if you want anything to do with Washington.
Well, I mean, one thing about Washington is, I mean, they're playing their minutes still. I mean, that's the thing, because it's hard right now. It's hard with if a lot of these teams, like I said, we don't know. I mean, they're playing a lot of backups. A lot of guys are out. One thing is Washington is playing their minutes. I mean, that's it.
Here's my question for you: how many minutes how owned is Terry Rozier tomorrow?
Oh, 6,000. Oh, Terry Rozier is going to be 85% owned.
I'm going to step on a limb and say you're going to see Terry Rozier in cash games at the 95% mark. Look Irving out, Horford out, Tatum out, Hayward out, Smart, Baines, Brown, Marcus Morris, Daniel Tice.
Go ahead. I'm going to let you do your side, and then I'll get it.
Daniel Tice, a game-time decision. You look at this starting lineup, and they've got Yabule, they've got Robert Williams, Ojale, Brad Wanamaker, and Terry Rozier. You've got 4 guys who are 3,500. I'm going to tell you right now, you can absolutely build lineups around this Boston stack at 3,500 because they don't have anybody else. Like, these guys are going to play 35 to 40 minutes tomorrow. Wanamaker is. Ojale is. I think Ojale and Robert Williams probably have the most upside in this spot because they've got run in the past. Wanamaker is I probably put him 3rd, and then I rank Rozier 4th at 6,000. Not because I just think that Rozier could get you 50. There's no doubt about that. But I think you have an easier time getting 8x out of the guys I listed in that order. Robert Williams first because he's a big man playing against the Wizards. He's going to get minutes. If Robert Williams is to get in foul trouble, then they're going to go small with like PJ Dozier or RJ Hunter. Daniel Tice will be interesting. That'll be the one thing that I look for tomorrow is see if he's going to play. Because if he's going to play, that's a guy that I would rank probably as number 2. And I'd probably go Ojale, then Daniel Tice, then Robert Williams. Just because if Robert Williams gets in foul trouble, they don't have a big enough rotation to take him out with 2 fouls. They'll probably let him get 3 fouls in the first half, maybe even 4, and then know they've got Tice in their back pocket. So Rozier's a great play, obviously, because the rotation is so short, but I think from an 8x standpoint, 9x standpoint, even a 10x standpoint, I think that the odds of Wanamaker or Ojale or Robert Williams going 10x and getting you 35 are probably a little bit better than Terry Rozier getting you 60.
Yeah, I like Terry Rozier tomorrow. I think this.
Don't get me wrong, bro. I'm not saying I don't like Terry Rozier. What I'm saying though is that
I get what you think. But
with Ojale can play. I mean, we've seen him play. Robert Williams can play too. We've seen him play this year as well. So I'm just saying I think that those guys with nobody backing them up, going to play 35 minutes, they've got a better chance of going 10x than Rozier does for 60.
I think this is a spot that Rozier, he's going to score 40 real-life points. The only reason I say that, like, I'm just looking at this lineup. Like, I didn't realize what was going on with Boston until I started saying it. There is no good guys playing outside of Rozier. Like, I understand what you're saying with their all minimum price to get value, but Rozier's going to have, like, the ultimate green light. Like, he's the only really good player that's going to be playing a bunch of minutes tomorrow. I see this being a spot for – and I'm not saying, like, even fantasy-wise. I'm just saying as a basketball fan, I could see this spot, Terry Rozier having almost the D'Angelo Russell green light. Like, he's the best player by far that's going to be playing for the Celtics tomorrow.
He has the D'Angelo Russell green light tomorrow.
You get what I'm saying, right? Yeah,
but I do think that the odds are much better for Ojale, Wanamaker, or Robert Williams to get 10x than I do Terry Rozier.
On the Washington side of things, I legitimately think you could play all 5 starters. You may call me crazy, but they're going to be going against a bunch of backups on the Celtics side of things. And like I said at the very beginning of the video, the coach is playing these guys 35 minutes a game still. I mean, every guy that I'm pulling up, they're still playing, a bunch of minutes. I just clicked on the nearest one, but look at 42, 35, 32, 36. The coach is playing them. I mean, it's not just one guy. He's doing it basically for all of them. Bradley Beal, a little bit, these games they were blowouts, so he didn't play them much, but he's still playing 30, 36, 38. I like the Wizards starters. I think that they're all in play. And then you can look at Jeff Green. I think this is a spot that the Wizards are just going to crush the Celtics, and Rozier is just going to be throwing up a bunch of shots, trying to kind of hold the team afloat. But yeah, man, that's really where I'm at with Washington. Moving on, next game we're going to go with, it's going to be the Philadelphia 76ers going into Miami to face the Heat. This game, we don't have an over-under, but Miami is favored by 3.5 in this one.
So, I mean, this is not as crazy as Boston, but Redick and Embiid, they're both out. James Ennis out. Game time decision on Bolden. So, my boy Mike Scott, I'm going to go right back to the well here with him. I just think that he can get you 6x. I do. I think he scored 22 points a couple games ago, real life points. And I think, I like him in this spot. Boban starting at this is where we love to play Boban at, right? 3,500. So if you legit look at these two games, you can play Boban and 3 of those minimum value Celtics with Terry Rozier and then load up in meaningful spots, right? Load up in meaningful spots. And that's going to be probably how tomorrow goes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on the Heat side of things, the Heat are like they're desperate right now. The number one guy for me on the Heat right now is Dwayne Wade. He has 1 or 2 games left in his whole entire career. They have like a slim chance of still making the playoffs. They have to win. You have to win, and they have to hope for some help. Is what's going on with the Heat. Dwayne Wade, 6,300. I mean, they're playing the guy the minutes right now. They know that this is the end of his career. He's got at least 30 fantasy points in 4 straight games. He's playing anywhere from about 28 to 32 minutes. I can see him in this game. If it's close, he can play 30 minutes in the spot. So he's going to be my favorite target on the Heat side of things. And then after that, I mean, it's like what we always talk about with the Heat. They got a lot of bodies. Yes, Josh Richardson's out, but Dragic is now back in the starting lineup, picking up those minutes. Winslow's an interesting play at 5,500. He's a guy that, he fills up the stat sheet very quick. When he gets hot, he can score in bunches as well. I think he's a GPP play. Olynyk, 4,400 is a very fair price tag for him. I like him in this spot. I think that he can have a good game. But, I mean, Bam, 7,600 going against Boban, and you got kind of Whiteside creeping on him a little bit minute-wise. I'm going to kind of stay away from the center situation. I mean, with the Heat, the guys I'm really liking is it's really just Dwayne Wade. That's my favorite play. And then, like I said, Olynyk, maybe Dragic and a couple of GPPs, but I'm not really too much on the Heat. Who do you like from the Heat?
I've been saying it, man. Dwayne Wade. You have to play Dwayne Wade. I honestly think they make the playoffs. I do. I think that they find a way to get in. I think that they can win this game here. I do at home. I think it's going to be a crazy environment, possibly Dwayne Wade's last game there, because I believe they're on the road tomorrow. I think it'll be a crazy environment. I think his teammates want to play for him. He means everything to that organization. You've said it for the last 3 weeks. Detroit's not playing good basketball. We know what this Memphis team that they're going to roll out tomorrow can do. I could totally see them knocking off Detroit, and if Miami wins this game, they are right in it on the last day of the season.
Right, for sure. Moving on, next game we're going to go with is going to be the New York Knicks going into Chicago to face the Bulls. This game has a 217 over-under. Chicago is favored by 1.5 in this one.
Man, I don't know what to say about this spot. I don't really have any interest here, to be honest with you. I just don't. I think that, to be completely honest with you, I'm Walter Lemon Jr. on the other side, possibly. Mario Hezonja at 7.7. I'm not. No, this is the only time of year you're ever going to see that dude at 7.7. Man, it just no, thank you. This game doesn't mean anything, and there's value. There's no reason to. I can't make any case to play anybody on the Knicks. There's value in Boston. There's value in Memphis, good value that we can trust in Memphis. Why do you need to go to this game?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, on the Bulls, obviously the Knicks are horrible, so you can look at a couple guys. Robin Lopez, 5.2, getting his minutes. Shaquille Harrison, 6.5. I've actually played this guy at this price tag. The guy's actually showing that he's a baller. He can play very good. So I think he is in play. You mentioned Walter Lemon Jr. You got Wayne Selden if he's going to be in that start lineup at 3,900. I understand he's had a couple, games, but he's came off the bench and hasn't played very many minutes. If he's going to be in that start lineup at this price tag, I think he is in play. You got Jakar Sampson been playing pretty good off of the bench. He's a guy, kind of deep GPP, possibly Archindiakono GPP, but that's about it for me. I'm ready to move on. Next game we're going to go with, it's going to be the Golden State Warriors going into New Orleans to face the Pelicans. This game, we don't have an over-under, but Golden State's favored by 7 in this one.
Durant is not going to play tomorrow, I believe, and I believe that we have not heard who they're going to rest. They've locked up the 1 seed. There's no reason for them to play here at all, anybody. I think that, we've already Iguodala's out, Bogut's out. I think you're going to see an onslaught of guys get ruled out tomorrow as well, just my personal opinion, and you're going to be looking at the likes of more value with Quinn Cook, Kevon Looney, Jonas Jerebko. Even if these guys are to start, I could see him playing the first quarter so they don't lose a rhythm, and then they're done. So I don't really have a lot of interest in the Warriors here, just for the simple fact they don't have anything to play for, and you don't have any guaranteed minutes at their price tags.
Yeah, I mean, on the Pelicans side of things, there's a couple guys that you can look at. Okafor, he just had that game that we know he could have. Scored 47 fantasy points. It's all about minutes with him, man. When he gets minutes, he produces very well. It's looking like Anthony Davis is probably going to be out, and possibly Julius Randle out. They're going to be really, really short-handed, big wise. If both of those are out, you definitely want to target Okafor, target Diallo. I mean, they're not going to have nobody else. And both of these guys are cheap. They're almost job spot plays if they don't work out. So you got to kind of wait on that news. Alfred Payton, 7,300. He's a guy that's continuing to get minutes and play well. He's probably one, if not the best player on Pelicans. The second best play, I mean, I'm just kind of waiting on the Anthony Davis and Randall news. If both of those are out, then I really like Okafor at 4,200, especially if he's going to be going against a bunch of backups for the Warriors. So we got to kind of wait and see on that big news, like I said. And, that's really where I'm at with the Pelicans, man. Got to wait on some news, look at Peyton. And Okafor is definitely going to be in play either way, but he gets a bump if both bigs are out.
Crazy thing is Ian Clark goes for like 60 at 3.5, and now his price is 6,000.
Right. I'm not going to chase that, but I'm staying, like I said, game of his life, and all of a sudden now it's crazy high. Moving on, next game we're going to go with is going to be the Toronto Raptors going into Minnesota to face the Timberwolves. This game has a 229 over-under, and Toronto's favored by 7 in this one.
Again, another spot. They can't get to the 1 seed. The 1 seed's been locked up. They're the 2, clearly the 2. There's no safe minutes here because these guys. I don't see any of these guys playing a full game. So there's no safe minutes. They're going to play again. They're in the same spot the Warriors are in. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, for sure. On Timberwolves, I mean, their season's over, so it doesn't matter. They're going to play their guys. You look at Karl-Anthony Towns, 10.3. I like him even more if Gasol is out. Gasol's a pretty good defender. But it's not the best spot for Anthony Towns because even if Gasol's out and you got Ibaka starting, it's still a tough matchup. But, one thing we know is Towns going to play his minutes for the most part, so you got to look at him first and foremost on the Timberwolves. Then you can look at a guy like Tyus Jones playing very well, 6,000. Andrew Wiggins, 7,000 is in play. I like those 3 guys. Throw a Kogi in a couple GPPs. And, that's really it for me. The only other guy that I think that you could look at even GPP-wise would be Dieng. Dieng's getting some minutes right now with Taj Gibson out at 4,300. He's almost in that area where you can look at like a drop spot GPP play with a little bit of upside. But, yeah, man, that's really it for Timberwolves. My main 3 guys I'm going to look at is going to be Towns, Jones, and Wiggins.
Cool.
Moving on, next game we're gonna go with is gonna be the Phoenix Suns going into Dallas to face the Mavericks. This game we don't have an over under, but Dallas is favored by 7 in this one.
Yeah, I mean, look, the main spots here is Josh Jackson. The problem is he's 8,100 now, and that's because there's Tyler Johnson out for the season, Devin Booker out for the season, Oubre out for the season, Ayton out for the season. Holmes a game time decision, no TJ Warren. So I told you guys the other night, Jamal Crawford at minimum value was a guy I loved. His price has gone all the way up to 5,600, playing 24.2 minutes. I don't hate him here as a play because Jamal Crawford for his entire life has been a great sixth man. He's like the Lou Williams before there was Lou Williams. I think Jamal Crawford's a better version of that. But I mean, he's at the end of his career. He can still score, right? We know Jamal Crawford can still score. He can still make shots. But there's just not a lot to like here, man. I mean, you start looking at, is there value? And again, this is like looking at New York to me. Is there value here? I mean, I would much rather have the Boston value. I think those guys are on a shorter rotation. And when you got a guy like a PJ Dozier in Boston that just was recalled from the G League who may get 20 minutes tomorrow, that guy's going to ball out. It's his chance, to make a statement with an organization that's got him in the G League. So what do I want anything to do really here? Ray Spalding at 3.5? I'm probably going to go say that he's not going to do what Terry Rozier is going to do. So I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, on the Mavs, bro, guess what? Surprise, your boy Doncic, game time decision. He is probable tomorrow, though. If he plays, it takes a lot of guys out of play. I mean, we really just got to wait on what's going on with Doncic. But we got him listed as probable. So right now, I mean, I'm going to go as he's playing. If he does play and he plays his full allotment of minutes, you got to start with him, best player on the team. If he doesn't play, there's going to open up some minutes and some value possibly. So like I said, it really just depends on Doncic. If he does play, I like Doncic. I think he's in play. Powell, 7,100. His minutes are kind of all over the place, but this is a really good spot for him. So I think he's a good GPP play, but the price tag is too high, in my opinion, to really play him in cash. Dirk Nowitzki, 3.9. Use him as a drop spot GPP play. Before last game, he was playing a consistent 22, 24 minutes. This could be his last career game, second to last career game. I don't know how many games they have left. I know it's only a couple, if that. So he's going to play, and, 3,900, a little bit of upside right there. Outside of that, Trey Burke, he's been getting some minutes when Doncic's been out. Then that's a big reason. Like I said, I got to wait on Doncic's news. So, I mean, it's a wait-and-see approach on the news, kind of what's going on with the Mavericks. But as of now, I expect Doncic in, and he's the best play on the Mavericks.
Move on.
Next game we're going to go, it's going to be the Denver Nuggets going into Utah to face the Jazz. This game, we don't have an over-under, but Utah's favored by 1.5.
So Utah has less to play for here than Denver does. Denver is tied right now with Houston record-wise, and they rested Jokic Sunday. You got Houston in the very next game. Oklahoma City, they're also got something to play for. They, three teams are basically tied with the same record, 6, 7, 8. That's kind of settled because of tiebreakers, but there's a lot to play here for Denver, and I like some of these guys, man. I really do. I fully expect Jokic to play. I think he'll be contrarian because I think so many people will be on Boban at 3.5 minimum value. Paul Millsap, 6.4. You can look at that. Will Barton and Gary Harris, they're just not doing enough, and their price tags continue to drop because their production is just not there. I mean, we've seen it over and over again. Malik Beasley, Monte Morris, these guys are getting solid run, and it's like Monte Morris and Malik Beasley are a better, younger version of Will Barton and Gary Harris. That's just the way I see it. So, I think that even Torrey Craig getting 20 minutes right now. So, I think you look at Jokic. I think that's kind of where you keep it. I think that this is you don't want to go and end your season on a slide like losing to Golden State, twice getting waxed by them, and then you don't really want to go down to that 3 spot. So, I think this is a spot you load Jokic up. I really do.
On the Jazz side of things, everybody gets a bump right now because Rubio's out. So there's a lot more ball handling going around, kind of. Royce O'Neal, he's been a guy that we've been looking at all year. Whenever Rubio's out, 3,500 bare minimum price tag. We've seen him play big minutes, 35 minutes in a game, and they're going to come out ready to play. The last game, he played 30 minutes against the Lakers. And he's played at least 30 minutes in 3 straight games. So the minutes are there, bare minimum price tag. I like him in this spot. That's kind of where you start with Rubio out. Then you got Donovan Mitchell. I don't want to pay 9,800 against Donovan Mitchell against a really good team in Denver. I don't care if he's the point guard or not. I mean, I'm not paying that price tag for him. Joe Ingles though, 7,100. He gets a lot. He gets 3 or 4 more assists a game when Rubio's out. That's what I've seen from him. 7,100. He's a fair price tag. I think he is in play. And then, off the bench, you can always look at Jay Crowder, 4,800, getting some minutes. Cephalosha has been getting some minutes too. We got to kind of wait on the Favors news because he's been starting in place of Favors. Last game he showed us some upside against the Lakers. So I think that he'll be in play if Favors is out, but if Favors is in, then I'm not really going to be looking at Cephalosha. But the main guys on the Jazz, it's Gobert, Ingles, Royce O'Neal if he's going to get the start at bare minimum price tag. And then you got a couple of the other GPP plays. Moving on, next game we're going to go with, it's going to be Houston going into OKC to face the Thunder. This game, we don't have an over-under, but OKC is favored by 1.5. And this is the game I feel is going to be like the most competitive game of the night. Like both teams are going to be going full force.
Tomorrow night, now that we've got here, is going to be really about one thing. Do you put the right value in your lineup around Russell Westbrook and James Harden? Because this game does mean a lot to both of them. Houston, they can win tomorrow. They tip off 30 minutes after Denver does. They win tomorrow and Denver loses, then boom, they're in the 2 spot, right? And that big deal for that, right? I mean, you're looking at probably playing San Antonio. So actually they could just rematch and that could turn this into a playoff series because Oklahoma City could fall to the 7. And then you've got, them 2 and 7. So I think that tomorrow boils down to, can you put Harden and Westbrook in your lineup, which you can, and do you build the right value around them, right? And I think that that's kind of where it's at. Eric Gordon at 4.2 in a really good spot. I think Chris Paul will be the contrarian play off James Harden. Fade Harden, play Chris Paul, expect a big game out of him. I think Kenneth Faried at 3.9 is interesting in this spot. I've said it before, Jeremy Grant, a slashing type perimeter player who can get to the rack. But Kenneth Faried, when he's in at power forward, if he's going to match up against a Jeremy Grant, it's a mismatch size-wise. And, Kenneth Faried can take advantage of that. You look at Nerlens Noel, he's an athlete. He's not a banger. He's a shot blocker. He can run the floor. So I think Kenneth Faried's in a good spot too. I think it's just a mismatch opportunity for him to get at 3.9. He could get you 18 to 24.
Yeah, on the Thunder, we both expect this game to be very competitive. Both teams are really going to try hard to win. So the rotation is going to be tight, man. We look at the obvious guys. I'm not going to play Steven Adams 7.5 against Capella. I just don't like the matchup. I'm not comfortable with it. But I do like, obviously Westbrook, George, you can put them in, feel comfortable. They're going to give you a solid floor with upside, a monster game. The implications are big for both sides. They both want to win this game. Jeremiah Grant's playing right around 30 minutes at a 5.4 price tag. Very fair for him. I think he gives you a floor of about 20, 25, what you need for cash game value if you're still playing cash games. And then you look out at the best guy off the bench, Schroeder, 5,700, up-tempo game. This is a big spot, and he's a big-time player in my opinion. He likes to play in big games. So I like him as well. Probably a little bit, I don't know, he's borderline cash, but probably a little bit more of a GPP play. But he's going to get his minutes tomorrow. They go to their main rotation whenever the game is tight. He comes in for Ferguson, and he's like the extra ball handler. So I like him. And then Noel and Morris, if you can guess who's going to get the minutes, they kind of flip-flop. Noel's getting about 14 to 16 minutes, and Morris is getting about 16 to 18. With last game, I think he played 24 or something. So it's kind of a guessing game minute-wise, but with the 2 backup bigs. I'm just going to stick to Grant, Westbrook, George, Schroeder. Those are my main guys I'm going to be targeting.
So I'm just gonna say one thing, man. If you're gonna play a lineup that's like Harden and Dwayne Wade tomorrow, build one more and just play Harden and Dennis Schroeder because I like the Schroeder play, man.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I mean, it's a big time game, and up tempo too. Final game of the night, bro. Let's just do this and get out of here. We're gonna go with Portland Trail Blazers going into LA to face the Lakers. Do you have the over under on this game?
It is 224.5, and Portland's favored by 9.5.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my thing was okay. Yeah, I got that now. Cool. Hey, let's go ahead and just get through this last game real quick.
I actually think that that you can play Portland tomorrow and they'll be contrarian. I think Damian Lillard at 9.1 is a very fair price. When he's in that 9,000 point or 9,000 salary range, I like him on FanDuel. The reason I think that is because McCollum's just come back, and McCollum has only played, I think, one game with Enes Kanter starting, and this is their they've got to get their playoff rotation tight. There's a lot of pressure on them. Everybody knows they got embarrassed last year with a high seed against New Orleans in that playoff series, and I think that this is going to be a spot for them to figure out the rotation. You know, they've probably done it in practice and they've kind of got their rotation figured out. And now it's time for them to go take it to it. They're going to use this as a practice game. That's how I look at it. I think it's on paper from a coaching standpoint, this is a good spot to go put your rotation to a test and let these guys play to get kind of iron the kinks out in a game before they go into the playoffs. So I think they play here, and I think they play regular minutes against the Lakers, and I think the Lakers will push them. I do. This core of young Lakers they got on the floor right now, they're playing. So you could look at Enes Kanter at 7.6. You could look at McCollum at 8,000. Who absolutely, if you're a Laker fan, this dude has put plenty of daggers in the hearts of Lakers fans. He just seems to play well against the Lakers. And then Lillard at 9.1. I don't have a problem with any of those guys. Even Evan Turner at 5.3. Nobody's going to own Evan Turner, and I think that Evan Turner and Rodney Hood will kind of round out their rotation. Myers Leonard and Zach Collins and Seth Curry, I think those guys see a little bit diminished minutes when this playoff run comes, and I think that you're going to start to see some of that tomorrow night.
On the Lakers side of things, I mean, we're playing guys that are like, man, this guy's in the start lineup, but it is what it is, man. I mean, they're all playing big minutes right now.
I have never seen the name Jamario in my life.
Yeah, me neither. It won't even, the player card won't even pop up. And it popped up for every other player. So on the Lakers side of things, I mean, outside of this guy Jamario, I honestly don't know who it is. But McCollum's playing very well. You said it. The Lakers are playing well right now with their backups. McGee's playing well. Muscala's playing well. Caruso's playing out of his mind, he's really earning, a backup role on the Lakers. Even if we become a good team, he's showing us that he belongs in the rotation. He's playing very well. And the Caldwell Pope as well. Caldwell Pope, he's next year probably not going to be with the Lakers. He's kind of showcasing himself, and he's been balling out, man. He's been carrying, a good part of the scoring load along with Caruso. So I think those guys, all four of them outside of the guy Jones, is in play for the Lakers starters. And then this guy has been coming off the bench. He's pretty good, man. Jonathan Williams, 4,800. He's getting minutes in the 20s now. And like I said, he's playing well. He's got you at least 23 fantasy points in 3 straight games since he's kind of been in the rotation. So if the minutes continue to kind of increase, he possibly has a little bit of upside because he's definitely over a point per minute fantasy player. So I think he's in play GPP wise. And that's really where I'm at. I don't know what's going on with Lance. We don't have him listed as hurt, but he hasn't played the past couple of games, and I haven't seen that he's injured. So I don't know if he's just sitting out the rest of the season or what's going on with him. So I mean, that's really where I'm at with the Lakers, man.
He's looking for his guitar, bro. He can't find
it. Is that what it is?
He can't find it.
Yeah, but hey, man, that's all we got for you guys. 11 games wrapped up. Hey, man, we're here. I'm going to be playing some NBA all the way till the end of the regular season. So, try to make some money still. Definitely some money to be made. Outside of that, hey, man, check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. Got a lot of stuff going on with the site. Check it out. Good luck on your guys' contest tomorrow, all right? Peace out.